So yeah, I'm going to look at this one as psychology, social experiments, and control, and counter control. I think is the way that I would look at this, and then I think it's all faceted into human behavior. I don't really need this, but it helps me formulate a path a little bit more easier to bring the inside outside. So it doesn't really mean much to need this, but I don't know where I want to start with this, but social experiment and authenticity, right? I have taken a few courses,
Yeah.
some that I've heard other people have taken, and then they've backwardly taught me from that.
Yeah.
I've taken one myself personally,
Yeah.
not all of it, and then I've learned bits and pieces from other people.
Yeah.
So I was looking at authenticity. I was the first on a scene to two car crashes where it involved children.
Yeah.
Okay, and when someone's life is teetering on the balance, this would be looked at as a very negative experience, right?
Yeah.
And I'll put that in quotes, but I guess it's where you got the peak, the valleys, and then the upward. So you can come really low down in vibration. But for me, it works as a springboard to ascend higher, to then reach a level of knowing. Yes?
Yeah.
Which usually formulates in human behavior. So, control. When we think of control, we usually think of a remote control, one way.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just one way. There's not exactly a signal bouncing back to this that then says, okay, I registered that. Okay, now send this. Now take that. You know, when I turn this up, it just turns up the TV.
Yeah.
There's nothing coming back to here to say, okay, I just did that command. It doesn't work like that. So when we think of control, we usually view it as a one-way street, which it isn't. It's a two-way street. Let me just help you understand that, because this then helps me build upon universe. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there in stages, though. And I'm probably going to bounce around. It was a bit more flowery before the video, but it was a bit more explosive in terms of high and low. But let's just look at control, and then there's social behavior, and then there's individual behavior, but there's also usually duality behavior going on with this as well. So social experiment number one is, I can't stand toxic people, people say. I can't stand negative people. Okay, and you've got a lot of people that are in this high mind, positive. Well, you're functioning, it's good, but you're functioning on one side of your brain, let's say, or one side of the spectrum. And it's not realistic because you can't always be positive. That's just unrealistic to think about it. It's healthier to be a little bit of both, I think, and then it's how you use these situations, I think, to formulate in the negative and the positive that then reach this sort of peak. So when some people are like, oh, it's too toxic, oh, it's too much, it's over flooding my emotion. When people are like that, and then they say about authenticity, right? I find it very hard to settle on this, because that is one way of teaching you psychology, but on top of that, there's a dynamic of psychology that's above that. And then there's another one above that, and then another one above that. It's onion layered. It's not just one way fits everybody. Because if you think about it, you know, some of the things, if I talk to you about, you might want to get busy, right? And then we talk about control, right? So let's look at it, and we can't get hung up on it, because it's okay. So you've got a cat, for example. Now, there is a dynamic of control on both sides, but it's just when it gets used is the difference, right? So if you think about it, so your cat runs out the door, but you're busy and going to be away for a couple of days, and you know that that cat has to be indoors.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? If you go to get it, it's going to run.
Yeah.
Right? So because it doesn't want to be controlled. So in that moment, I don't want to be controlled. So how do you control the cat? Well, first you might try calling it.
Yeah.
What if that doesn't work?
It might just stop and look at you, maybe.
Yeah, so you're going to
But
try
doesn't
by
come.
calling, yes?
Yeah.
But if it's anything like Mus, he's going to look at you like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
way.
If you come closer, I'm running.
Yeah,
really.
you know, and then it becomes a game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Okay? So you try calling, that doesn't really work. And so you might up the ante then. So what do you do next?
Offer
Well,
food.
Offer food. Nah, I just eating bitches. That's not enough, you know?
Yeah.
And you bitches come near me, you get stitches, right? So that might not work. But then you're up the ante again, right?
You could offer treat.
A treat. And this one will probably work. Cat will probably come in or come up to you. Treats being, among other things, something that they don't usually get all of the time and different stuff like that. But technically, the cat doesn't think you're controlling it. It thinks you're rewarding it.
Yeah.
There's a difference, right?
Yeah.
So the cat doesn't understand that you've just controlled it and then you've dominated it and then you've got what you wanted out of the cat
Yeah.
by leaning to its better nature. Oh, I'm a good boy now.
Yeah, I'm
Treat,
coming
you know?
for. Yeah.
I like all of that sort of. I like that positivity right there. The whole thought of coming in, no, that was very negative to me. But you've changed my mindset. I think treat, and I'm a good boy, and yeah, I could measure up to this. Okay, now the shoe's on the other foot. Okay, the cat now wants to control you.
Yeah.
I just put some food down, but that wasn't enough. So how's he going to control me? Because control is dynamic. It's both ways. Is it called reciprocal? Wait, maybe
Reciprocal.
reciprocal. Yes, it's a two-way street. Yeah. And in this, it's going to do something that's going to appease or go to your better nature.
Yeah.
So, first thing Mus will do is he sort of runs in front of you whilst you're trying to walk, and then he sort of really slows down. And this is like, oh my fucking god, man! Get out of the fucking way! Yeah. And if you're holding anything, you got to give me some food, some patience now. You got to give me some compensation that I understand.
Yeah.
So, and perhaps that doesn't work, and you're like, nah, you're not getting any more. So then he might start to do something like where he's a bit more pouncing on your foot.
Yeah.
Again, nah, go away. But then he might swipe at you,
Yeah.
and then you're like, ah, fuck's sake. Yeah. Controlled. And then we look at this and we can formulate a path with this. So I was talking about universal.
Yeah.
So the universe does the same thing, although you don't think it. You're in some way control of it, and it is in control of you.
Yeah.
Well, how might it do that? You got any ideas?
Nah.
No? So it offers you a star, which is known as the sun. It offers you a stable platform called a planet. Well, these are definitely not size comparisons. All right, that's better. So, yeah, it offers you a planet. And it gives you a good platform for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So you are like, well, I'm not going to leave just yet because this is good. This is good. And it gives you air. The air is good.
Yeah.
It's giving you resources that, start dwindling. This is all by nature, by the way. So resources, we just call these res. All good. Now the air starts to become questionable. The resources begin to dry up.
Yeah.
The planet is not so good anymore with the different levels and nature and everything else. And then the star begins to fluctuate. And, is that good? Is it now in your control, in your leisure?
No.
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 No, it's in something else's control now, isn't it? Well, it's by design, it's a choice. It is definitely a choice. You can stay there. But why would any thinking beings actually do that? Because they like to believe that they're intelligent and they're in control. So it gives you the illusion of control, that it's in your control. But is it in your control? Well, no, because you've then got pride, you've got ego. Oh, it knows this very well, can use these tools at its leisure. You know, we this is by dynamic. This happens on the earth as well. So let's say I got someone that lives is very closed off individual, okay? It finds it very difficult to be in large, big, built up places and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And let's say you want to control that person without looking at me and saying, I'm going to control your ass, right? And this person has got this whole identity built around this stuff. So how do you get that person out of that mindset?
Yeah.
Well, you control them. No, we don't. It's all an accident. Well, no. Nothing is an accident. None of it is coincidence. So what would you do? You'd give them a shitty house to start with, right? You're grateful for it, but again, grateful in terms of being accustomed to standards and the rules to do things don't get done. And that's an active choice not to do those in order to get something that you want without actually telling the person, which again feels like manipulation, that you want them to go a certain journey, but you don't want to come out and you don't want to tell these people because you don't think that they are worthy, or you've built up a narrative in your mind, or perhaps it's just a game of chess to you that you don't want to tell this person. You don't want to give them the dignity that they deserve to actually level with them and say, you know what, I think you're probably better over here. What do you feel about that? Well, you think that they won't take it for what X, Y, Z or anything else. So how do you level that situation to mimic this situation in order to either withdraw something that you had a plan to do in the first place, or you want them to do something better than themselves? Well, first, you've got to find their belief system. Second, you've got to understand what it is that makes them function, what makes them tick. And then you put them in the opposite of all of these things. So you basically give them what they want in a situation, but you withdraw the services that were meant to be there. You give them loads of rat poison everywhere. You get rat shit everywhere. You got mice shit everywhere. You can keep going. You've got mold. You've got this, that, and the other. And then you then begin to no longer want to give them the services that are meant to be there. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then you become so unwilling to do anything that you then dangle a big city in front of them. Well, whereas before they wouldn't take the city because, you know, their choice would be this. And would it be a choice indirectly or directly, or societal pressures or life experiences? All of these things play a factoral role in all of this outcome. But you want to control them, but you know it's illegal because it's, you know. So you then begin to stack the bricks against them.
Yeah.
So this all looks in the negative, which is one side of it. Where's the pyramid? There. You start to lay everything in the negative, while making it appear to them that it's all for them in the positive. So it's the positive dressed up in negative, and the negative is dressed up in positive, right?
Okay.
That's why I love psychology, by the way. I love psychology. And then you become the puppet masters in this, because this was your plan after all. I will be able to control you indirectly without making it look obvious. Then you begin to make it so much more against everything. You've heard them beforehand. They like to be in a built-up area which feels safe, so you remove the fence. But you don't in any other house. You just do it in this main one, let's say. You then have come in and go in the garden, which you already know about, right? So you would amplify this. You won't fix things the way you're meant to, but done by the rules, let's say. And you make things so fucking difficult for them, but it's deliberate because your objective is to control the person, remove all of their freedom and everything else. I don't know why you would want to do that. Perhaps there is a goodness at the end of it, but if there was, it would be genuine. It wouldn't be through trickery. Then let's say you offer them a property. It's in a city. That's not what they would truly pick. It's got a fence, let's say. It doesn't have any rat and rodent drop-ins. You do have a bit more freedom in it. And you will offer them all of the things that are in the plus, but it's now in the negative. Whereas before you offered them the negative, but it was in the plus. So then you could make the individual think that all of their choices then, oh my God, my choices must have just all been wrong. You know, you'd have that big pet talk with yourself. That's if you don't know how people operate. And then you'd have to know an awful lot about different people and the way they operate and how manipulative that they can be in these situations in order to get something that they want. But is it that they want to get something that they want that's going to benefit you, or is it because they want to take something away from you that benefits them? This is the big question. If someone was going to offer you something that was towards your best advantage, towards bringing you the best out of you, it would be done genuinely, and it wouldn't need to be hid behind all of this facade. That's if these things are happening that way. Pretty risky. You got a lot to lose if you get found out. But anyway, we'll see how this goes. And not saying that this is true or anything. I'm just saying that this is how you could do it, right? And then it appears to the subject that all of these choices were done by you. But were they? Well, think about it. Could this be different in that situation? Could they have come and stuck to their ruling that there should be none of this? It makes sense to me up until you bring up the word asbestos. Then you start having dangerous substances that are mixed into it. Then it looks like sort of bogus assassination attempts. So the objective would be either meet assassination, death, destruction, or do it our way. Do you see the sort of... That's a very dicey game, to be honest. I mean, that is very... You know, if it was about your best intention, that's what they wanted to have, rather than it be some sort of cruel game that they've got because they're sick, it wouldn't have these parts in it. It wouldn't go that way. But it's multi-directional. Trust me on that one. It is multi-directional, especially when you begin to wake up upon it. Because it's psychology on top of a lot more psychology. But when you've got a large amount of minds working together behind certain curtains in order to get an objective to happen, there is no way we can go back from that. There is no ifs or buts about it that we can ever turn a page on this stuff. And there's a reason behind it, because you've brought in a lot of innocence into this. You have made other people walk through this, and it's very sick. It's, in fact, it's shocking. But anyway, as it goes, that if you are giving the permission to do this, you are telling the universe that you can do this too. So you have basically just given a golden ticket over to the universe. And what is done shall be done. Right? So we got to look at this in many different directions. So when you learn about this from the universe as to why animals do the things they do, well, it's to get their advantage. It's always to their advantage. It's never to the individual. You wasn't bringing the cat in for their advantage, were you? When you first go out and call the cat, and the cat said no?
No.
Did you accept it?
No.
Did you accept its choice that I want to stay out?
No.
So you up the ante, and you up the ante. But the difference is, this one goes quite a nice way, right? This is a very nice way to do it.
Nice way.
So you can see that there are two ways to do anything.
Yeah, and the way you explained it as well in this case. If you leave for sometimes the cat has food and is safer home than outside.
And then the second example I gave you is quite a horrific, horrible, disgusting way that would make most of the hardened people on the planet feel disgusted with themselves. And if they don't, then they lack this word. There's a word there that they lack. There's I don't know. I'm sure they will fill in the blanks for me. But so there's two ways to get control then, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a nice way to do it, and then there is a really, really beyond horrible way to do it. Like, that is disgusting on so many fronts. But by and large, we all do this to one another every single day. So we've got people that are very anti-toxicity. because they've been taught that this is toxic, this is this, you know, don't listen to anyone's problems. It's very toxic. It's very negative. It's very this, because they're a victim. Okay. And then when we start to look at that, if I was to offer these people £150, social experiment, I was to say, here, I'll give you £150. Would you listen to me for an hour? That means I can talk about any topic. Do you think they're going to be going off telling their friends that there was this toxic person? Or do you think they'll be going, hey, you never guess what? I made £150.
Yeah, they will say it's probably like the second one. Yeah.
Well, what did you have to do? I just had to listen to someone's problems. Oh, fucking hell, if you want to pay me to listen to your problems, I will. Just the same way that people want to be paid to be reprogrammed to be all of this positiveness.
Yeah.
And admittedly, I think that there is a fine line, but unless, I don't know, I use some of these situations as a springboard. As a springboard. And then from yesterday's video, I think I was talking about what side does this make you on the pyramid? I'm getting a little bit more into that today. So, I don't know. And by and large, we do these weird things as we grow up. If you don't want to hear your partner saying something. And then the social acceptance. So like I said, I've been on 2 accidents where it involved children. One, they were both horrific. I'm not going to lie. So someone's life is hanging in the balance. A little child, like, I don't know, a couple of years maybe. That was difficult. That was a very difficult situation to be into, but I did the best I could in that moment to help as best as I could. And one other person out of a crowd of individuals with their mobile phones. With the mobile phones. And then everyone gives it this glassy excuse. That is, it's the bystander effect. That is not the bystander effect. Not at all. Bystander effect is standing around hopelessly not knowing what to do. But you know how to pick up a phone. If it was your loved one in that, what would you do? You'd know what to do. You'd be on the phone to the emergency services. You'll be doing this. If it was you, your ego, you, and affecting you directly.
Probably doing the help and telling someone to call.
So to be in this moment, and then what do you think the mobile phone is for? Okay, you already know this. We spoke about this in jest, but before that, you didn't really know. Well, it's so I can film it. Well, why is that? Well, I might be able to sell it to a paper. I might be able to get something, some views, perhaps. That's not a bystander effect. That's very calculated in that moment. Or is it fearful? Is it making you scared? Well, no, because you've got to watch that video back. You're going to then take that video and then send it off to other people, perhaps. You're going to try and get some money for it, perhaps. That's calculated. That's premeditated in the moment that you're going to do that. You're going to film that, and for whatever reason that you want to remember something like that. I spend most of my time trying to forget about it. I can't. And I don't know any therapist that would want to, oh God, you're being too toxic. Oh, you've had some problems in your past. Oh, well, come on, you know, get them off. Problem half, problem shared. Don't be a victim. Okay, I'm not being a victim, but let's talk about it then. And then secretly, social experiment, people will sort of be moved away from that because, you know, that's a low vibration. That's very interesting. That's a low vibration, apparently. So in order to not give a shit, that's a low vibration. And then when you begin to teach people this, what do you think if the universe decides to throw this all at you? That must be a really low vibration universe. Oh my days.
Well, it's...
But in actual fact, it's actually life, but you could be positive about it. It's all right. It doesn't matter if it all ends. It's fine. We did the best we could, you know. We just weren't there. History.
It's a life of universe. Something is created and something exists, and then something gets destroyed and something else might be created.
Where do you think all the meteorites come from?
From some collisions?
No.
No?
No.
Then I don't know.
No, not many people do. They got their best guesses, but... The last time this happened, humanity was on the planet. Do you know that? But there was a massive, massive event happen first. But humans were on the planet.
Uh-huh.
Do you know they even witnessed this? They even drew it. Lots of people say, oh, it was an alignment. It was this. It was no, it wasn't. A very, very spectacular event happened. And it's quite rare, but it is common. That's really weird to say that, isn't it? It's like both ends of the spectrum. So where do you think all of those meteorites that come crashing in come from? Can you even think about it? Logically, just have a little think about it. We're near due one, by the way. There's one coming. Now, whether that reaches Earth in our lifetime is a different question, but it's something that... Do you know what the dinosaurs saw happen? Betelgeuse, this nebula blew off. And what do you think happens in that explosion?
Debris as well.
Yeah, but where does that debris go? Well, it goes in every direction.
Yeah.
It's a star, after all. When it blows off its nebula, anything that didn't get made in the building blocks gets cast in every single direction you know, yeah?
Yeah.
And then depending on the speed of that explosion, okay, the star didn't explode, okay? That was just blowing off its nebula.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think all that debris goes traveling?
Some of it comes here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Some of it happily misses your planet.
Yeah.
Some of it doesn't. So when it blows off a nebula, it causes an event across the sky where everyone will see this big flash, no matter where you are. And it appears like multiple stars. The Star of Bethlehem, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
Ancients knew about this. They saw it. And then they begin to... But then there's another event happen after that. Lots of meteorites begin to streak all directions. Now, when a star dies and explodes, that's a different ball game altogether. That is extinction on your planet.
Yeah.
That blows bigger pieces, much bigger pieces. Well, sure, it's a refill on resources, but it's also a change of times. And it's not one, it's multiple pieces. And it is big. And you'll know it before it comes. Do you know that?
See it in the sky.
Oh, you'll see those pieces coming.
Yeah.
Maybe not straight away. And each one is traveling at a different speed, and there's not a lot to slow it down.
Yeah.
Now, some hit the sun. Now, when they do that, there's two things that happen.
Yeah.
Now, it all depends on when it hits the star. Here we go. We're diving into some knowledge. The universe often throws a few spanners in the works. But again, it's all a choice.
Yeah.
It's all a choice. You stay or you go. It's up to you. You defend yourself against it or you don't. That's, again, it's your choice. Thinking beings.
If you reach that level to be able to go, if you are not like in medieval times era sort of, and you see something coming and you cannot do anything.
Let's say if you have a big chunk that hits your star. Do you know what it does to your star?
No.
Think about it. It cools it down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what does it do?
But
If
it cools the
cools it-
star down.
Yeah, but what does the cooling do?
Well, if you've got an odd piece that's coming this way, and it never is just one, it's multiple, one after the other, usually. What happens when you first... Yeah, I'll give you an idea then. You take a fire,
Yeah.
coal fire. It works better with that. And then you get some odd shapes of coal.
Yeah.
Big, small, little.
Yeah.
And you throw it on your fire. What's the first thing that happens to the fire?
It appears to go down, sort of.
Okay, so you've got your fire, it's all nice and red, it's bellowing out with infrared and heat and
yeah.
everything else, right? And it's all nice and hot, and then you go and throw some coal on it. What's the first thing you notice? It cools down.
Cools down, is no longer that red.
It cools down fast.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think happens to all the planets?
They cool down too.
Yeah. And then what does that trigger?
Ice Age.
Exactly. Brrr.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to hit your planet, but it hits your star. Sure, Jupiter's going to help. Your planet's going to absorb some. Different particles are going to get absorbed in different areas. Sure, big hunks are going to be here, there, and everywhere, but they vaporize into things. So much more harder to tell, really. Yeah, there's two ways of spreading minerals, elements, in the universe.
Yeah.
This one is when it blows off the nebula.
Yeah.
You get little bits. Some of it that doesn't really reach and bounces off of other things. You know, it's not going fast enough. It's slowed right down before then. Perhaps bounces out and creates an Oort cloud.
Yeah.
But the Oort cloud is more of, you're best off draw it like this. A bit like the rings of Saturn.
Yeah.
It formulates around the outside, around the circumference. A bit like the planets, a bit like the moons. Again, if you look at Uranus,
Yeah.
why are the moons like that? Well, what do you mean, why are the moons like that? Well, why are the moons going this way? All the rest are around the equator. Speak of him. Hello.
Hello.
So, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, you know, it's a bit, you know, around the out. Yeah, Uranus is a bit more on its side, right?
Yeah.
And how do you protect yourself in that moment? How could you, life forms protect themselves? Well, first is knowledge, right? And the knowledge of knowing this is going to happen, or could potentially happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's one. And that's if it's the small cloud being puffed off first. There are some debris in that, some pretty big, some horrific size. Others, when the star dies and that explodes, you much rather it implode. But it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at Beetlejuice and stuff like that, you're thinking, ticking time bomb. But it's too far away. We're talking about an exploding star here. We're not, nothing small. There's a lot of force in that. You see, we often overlook things like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Often we do. We often do.
Because we cannot imagine the distance.
Because you've not been here long enough.
Yeah.
You see, perspective. Humans have been around for this much.
Yeah.
But the universe has been around for this, and it will go on for a lot more. But when you're here and here, here and here, you've got a very limited perception. Well, it hasn't happened. Well, we you know, so you got best guess. But I think hitting with the knowing is a lot more, because it's behavior. The universe has a behavior.
Yeah.
You are in control, but also the universe is in control. Again, it's and the ancients draw these pretty little meteorite showers that come, oh, it's beautiful. It must have been some sort of event that was this and this and that and that. But really,
But it wasn't.
they were just learning something, as if the universe was like, hey, just let me teach you a little lesson first. Let me show you something. Luckily, it's in so many different directions, right? So you
Yeah.
know that one where I was drawing with the clock? No, it wasn't the clock. It was more like a calendar
Yeah.
where I put all of the months.
Mm-hmm.
And then this would be coming out this way,
Yeah.
that way, this way. It
That
goes
way,
in every
yeah,
direction.
yeah. 3D.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's not unheard of, but it can send rogue planets. The ones that sit around the edge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the small types of moons. Let's say, which would then we would call dwarf planets here.
Yeah.
These can survive.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be hussed out. But because you're not seeing it all the time, you just think, it must just be fluky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it obviously doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does, but it's just not very often. Not from a human perspective, because time is, well, what's time? Time is, there's someone suffering right now and going through a hard time, and time is going really slow for this individual. But also likely that there is someone who's got a birthday and they've got a party and all the rest of it, and time is going really fast. Their perception of it. The universe is a bit like perception. So humans in this very slow motion compared to the universe is like really slow. The universe is even slower in its time perception. Life forms come and go very quickly, almost too fast, to be honest. They don't live that long for them to really register it, because the universe or the star lives a lot longer.
Yeah.
It's in multiple life forms appear on this planet, and these have just gone by like this,
Yeah.
like a strobe light.
Yeah.
Then if you were to put this out in the cosmos, but if you could live the same time warp as a star, well, you'd see things very differently. This would be every other day these stars go off, right? In their understanding. It'd be like you living your life from being born, middle-aged, dead. Same thing. They've pretty much got the same. But to you, meh. What about to a bacteria? Well, they're never going to see that. Yeah, you're right. You get what I mean? Yeah, exactly. So each life form sort of views time, if you want to say it, in a very different manner. And even within the life forms, they're all experiencing, if you've got bacteria that's thriving versus the same bacteria in an environment that's more harsh, not thriving so well, but still existing. Time is going to seem to be very slow for this one, but time's going to be very quick for this one. Yeah. So even in the same spectrum, time is very different. And then if they could become suspended animation, who's got the longest time? This one or this one? Well, this one, obviously, clearly. If you freeze a frog, those types that can be frozen, compared to one that's living every day. And then there are certain wasps that can be frozen. They've got antifreeze built in them. It's kind of weird. But if you could hard freeze them. So let's say a human that was 20 years old, you're able to freeze it completely. And then stop the clock. 500 years go on, and then you unfreeze them, and they take up as pretty much and exist. Just like, nothing happened. You would ask them, how much time has gone past? I had a fucking clue. I wasn't aware of it. Ah, okay. Well, 500 years have passed. How's that fucking what? Yeah, meet your great. Well, we're going to take a year to say this. Can I just say 1 year's worth of great grandchildren? Wait, what? Could you imagine that, having children, them being frozen in animation, and then they all but gone, but their generation is the only things that are left? Like this many.
It's like 20, 30 generations pass.
Could you imagine that? But then, if you freeze this person here when they saw this event happen, you see the best time machine is knowledge, but it's got to be accurate. So carving things into rock or having a record of things. But then you need to keep the language. So tribal mentality kind of fucks everything up because it leaves you with like, what the fuck are they saying? What does this mean? And they're probably screaming at you from beyond. It means this. That's if they understand you and you understand them. But let's just say it was like that, okay? And they saw this massive event and you froze them. 500 years go by and then they're alive now, unsuspended. And they see something explode in the distance. And they start panicking, like, oh my days, I saw this when it was just a nebula. They then fill in an awful lot of blanks, and that's if the language was still the same. Okay, might change slightly, but still.
Yeah, 500 years changes a lot.
Well, let's just say that we go a lot longer than
Yeah.
And then stars are different ages.
Yeah.
Working that out is quite a challenge, but still, which one's going to go next? Well, we think it's Betelgeuse. I don't know about that. You got a nice blue one going off over there as well. And actually, Betelgeuse is not the only one that's starting to show signs of decay. So there is also another one. And usually, stars go in twos.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that. I think it is a lot more than that. In order for this mixing process to happen. I mean, it's very interesting. Yes, it leaves a nice dust cloud, but it also spreads heavier elements.
Yeah.
And newer elements, especially if what you cooked up over there. Well, we're going to find out. Wait, are we going to survive this? But there again, you need knowledge. Because if you speculate and it's like, well, perhaps it was just one meteorite that banged into another one and then hit the Earth. Do you know the odds of that happening? They're like slim. They're like next to zero, like 0.00000.1% chance of that happening. This one is more like, whoa, we're definitely not at a 0.0. We're like, this is going to happen. This is gonna affect you. Type situation. Behavior is a very weird thing. And, you know, looking at the way why animals do the things they do. Well, it's to eat. So, of course, they're going to control. What about early man? So we look at early man, okay?
Yeah.
So they used to set fire to fenland.
Yeah.
For what reason? There's me going down with a lighter. Yeah, as if they were sitting there with a lighter like, oh, I just can't get it to... No. Ding, 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 ding. They probably accidentally set fire to it. And then noticed all this food come running out.
Yeah. Just catching it.
Right, do you know what I mean? And then probably was like, well, I could probably try catching some of these, you know?
Yeah, dig a hole before and then...
digging a hole is the easiest way to get food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just got to scare them into it. Fear. Well, why would you do that? Well, behavior is that if I do this, I get a large amount in this hole. Therefore, my family is going to live. So therefore, behavior control. But again, you don't want them to all die at once. So you want to keep them alive. But in an area where you can just go in and just, you know, pull it off the shelf, so to speak.
Yeah.
Same thing now. It's just called a shop. Or a butcher's. Okay, either or, right? Well, there's no point in that vegetable growing over there somewhere. Might as well take this and plant it near my house, right?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna walk all that way. What are you mad? This is a mass extinction event. I would say your time starts now, right? But there's a whole lot of learning to be done from this. Again, do you really want to share all of this stuff? Are you ready for it? I mean, because it's very negative, right? It's very toxic. It's very if you've got a positive mindset, I'm sure you'll be able to get through this. But you might not want to listen to it because it's too negative. It's too toxic. Is it though? Nah, you'll be fine. I mean, we can play these games all the time if you want, but I think we're wasting time.
It's boring.
And then that 0.0000 point followed by more 0.1% is like a bedtime story. So science, that's not likely to happen. Well, it does happen, but it's, no, this is very likely to happen, and the odds are not that small, and you've got a lot of risks coming from that. When we think about it, the star cools down. Okay, ice age. Well, current climate of the way the planet is right now, you won't make it through an ice age. There's not enough to burn, there's not enough this, there's not enough that. There's no preparation been made whatsoever.
Not enough forest anywhere else on the planet where it might survive better.
And have you tried digging in icy conditions? Even metal becomes brittle.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And we're talking about some temperatures that are beyond anything that you could understand. Well, it could be like 350. That's with your star radiating into space is around 350 and it looks like shady area. But what does Voyager say about interstellar space temperature? I mean, have we got the 10.4 on that yet?
I don't know that
because
information.
If it's anything below, then meh. Yeah, we probably want to look at those temperatures because this thing's going to be cool. And that's if it doesn't knock it out completely, which it can do. Behavior of the universe is very interesting. Stops you ever getting too complacent, right? Thank the universe for black. Oh, right. Yeah, but they're too far away. Now you see why you have black holes?
Yeah.
With this much gobbling it needs to do.
Yeah. It definitely
Ah, it'll never happen.
some.
Why is that? Because I never see it happen. Where's your proof? And you need logic for this one. You got to think about this. What happens if I was to throw molten stuff out of a volcano into space? What if a volcano could erupt all lava, and rather than it pouring across the planet, it actually starts pouring out into space? And it explodes all of that lava out into space.
It freezes, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, how big is that? How big a shards is that? It's different when it's a liquid. Yeah. Well, the star, it looks kind of hot and this, that, and that. Yeah, but look at what it is. It's not even amounts. It's going to be very uneven and it's going to be very shardy. Think about that. Black holes orbiting a craft would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Not too close, but not too far away either. We need you just right. Why is that? Well, just in case any of this shit happens, we need to be able to hoover this shit up. And then what do you need outside the black hole? Well, we're going to need some sort of cloaking device.
Cloaking?
Well, yeah. If you are intelligent life and you believe that there's other life out there, which is not a belief, just look at your own planet, it's quite infested. So the odds is a numbers game. And think of all that lovely bending space around you. Anyway, so you would want to cloak that, wouldn't you? You would cloak that, you would hide it. You're not exactly going to be like, yo, look at what I got. Is it Bruce, not Bruce Lee? Who's that boxer that said, I'd like my wife to be covered up. I don't want people looking at her. What's his name?
Is it Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad Ali. And he was like, you're not exactly going to leave all of your prized possessions on your window for everybody to see, are you? Yeah, I like that comment there. Space is needed. Planets? Okay. How are we going to move out the way of this? Well, then you're going to need to level up AI. Good job it can sort these files out pretty quickly. And then it's going to need to be quite ahead. But then you've got the whole speed of light barrier to get through, which just ain't there yet. So it needs to be slightly further, but it also needs to be able to send a signal
Yeah.
to be able to know to maneuver you out of the way. You can take small hits for sure. Big hits, and then you can use planets to shield you. I would say you go near a star, but that's a very wrong move. Don't go behind your star. If you want my advice, never go this side of a star if something's going to hit it this side. Have you seen the amount of shite that bursts out the other side? Oh my days.
Yeah, just look at Corona when it flies up.
That's all small stuff. That's all like little tiny bits. It'll just make a magnetic field pretty.
Pretty.
No, we're on about total.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, imagine when it's bigger.
Gamma rays are a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Gamma ray burst. They're easier to deal with. Can you believe that? They're much more easy to deal with. This type of explosion, not so easy to deal with. And then what has it got around it? So mapping the stars is great, but also mapping which ones are potentials that could boom.
It could come to visit.
Yeah, it could come to visit.
Yeah.
And you know when you see these big, massive, chunky bad boys of asteroid fly by, and you're like, whoa, where the hell did that come from in space? Yeah, probably a prehistoric star.
Yeah.
It's been traveling a while. They're the types that's pretty small on the grand scheme of things. That is small. Oh, and it looks very crystal chunky, by the way. It looks more crystallized. Not your average potato. No, it's more, it looks like a shard of crystal. That hits you, that's game over. You're gonna melt your fear. And then you could think, well, let's make lots of little ships. Lots of little ones, right?
Yeah.
Spread about.
And it vulnerable.
I would say so. And it's how close was the star that exploded? Then how long will it take for these shards to reach you? How much distance will you happen? Starting off with knocking meteorites and learning how to do that is key. Is literally key. And then you're gonna need to be finding this stuff and sending up an awful lot of stuff to hit these out of the way long before they enter into your solar system. Because although you may flick it gently there, it has the potential to knock it right off course, and the star will very naturally, you'll figure out why most things have magnetic fields. They do their best, but it's not 100% fail-safe. The magnetic poles, these play a massive, massive role. Quite literally, actually. Magnetism, it's pretty weak, but it's also and then the planets might be like, well, I want this one, but I don't want this one, but I do want this one, because this stuff that's traveling is charged.
Yeah.
Do you wonder how you get water here? Do you wonder? But again, this process is beautiful. Don't hate it. It's beautiful, because if not, life would never evolve on the planet. You wouldn't even be here without it. So behavior. Complacency. That's the brunt you bear for being intelligent. It's not easy. is a very difficult thing to deal with, but you've got to understand it. If you don't understand it, how are you going to survive it?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if it's very negative, but again, you jump on these things in order to exceed up to your knowing. I miss the dark ages. Yeah, I bet you do, I miss the gas ages. So, yeah, there's a lot of journeying, but you seem to be handling it pretty well. Does it give you a feeling in your gut?
No.
No, that's good. I became very aware of this when I had this I don't remember her name. She was lovely. She was an old pupil at the school, but then when I was like out of circ and that, she would read some space books and she was like, and I could detect this in her that she was a little bit about some of this stuff, and I was just like, she was like, should we read something else? I said, no. Does this not scare you? No, keep going. Yeah. She was like, well, it kind of scares me a little bit. And I was like, oh, okay then, let's keep going. So I learned pretty early on then that this sort of stuff can be quite scary.
It is, but at the same time, it's so big that, compared to some...
I wasn't reading this stuff. She wasn't reading this to me. She was reading about other stuff. Just...
But about universe, it's so big,
I love that feeling it used to give, and I guess that's what we call fear then.
Yeah. So I'm kinda okay if something like that happens. I'm like an ant on a planet, so whatever. Something happens, something will be.
No.
No,
you can't do that.
No, I can't do that. You
can't be all like, oh, if it happens, it happens. No, that's not happening.
No, if I can do something, I will, and if I can't, I can't.
Well,
that's what I mean.
Something about it.
Yeah, I understand that, but if I couldn't, what would I do?
What are we going to do with space junk? You're worried about the stuff around the planet. Yeah, what are we going to do about all of this stuff? This is pretty easy considering.
Pick it up and build something else from it, because it's probably from some resources.
Tesla helped you enough. Magnetism. Electromagnetic.
Yeah.
This helped. Tesla's already paved the way. Most of it's pretty much there. The fact is that this is mainly it will be magnetized. It's not going to lose it. What do you think about that? Can you repel magnets?
Yeah. Or attract them.
Exactly. Yeah. I want some of that. Come here, baby. You just got to learn to slow it down by using repelling. It's not just as straightforward as it will just repel like that. No. It will take some time, but then you will slow it down. But then you don't want to start repelling it away. Be like, hey, come back here, come back. Sort of one way. You begin to slow it down. That's why I love magnets. They're so underrated here. Don't you think? I got them in everything. We're fucking holding remotes to things with them. My units, they're everywhere. I magnets.
Used to play with magnets when I was a kid, because Dad brought some magnets. One magnet that broke into pieces because it was long and narrow. So then you have more magnets and you can play with them, and suddenly the two places that broke you cannot put together because they become plus and minus instead of being one thing.
Yeah.
So always like trying, am I strong enough? Oof! Push it together for a little bit and then punk.
Yeah. Or you get a long stack of them, right? And you pull them apart somewhere. Like after fighting against all of that force, right? The invisible force.
Yeah, yeah.
You get it apart, and then they all of a sudden attract together, and then they sort of shatter.
Yeah.
You get little bits of shards everywhere, right? I mean, I think they're so powerful, some of these, that they break themselves when they try and attract.
Huh? Yeah.
Man, our attraction is so good that I want to explode like magnets when they're too powerful for each other. Sometimes opposites attract,
Yeah.
but sometimes the connection can destroy.
And there was these shards magnetic, and if you wanted to play, you put them on paper and played with the magnets from the bottom.
With the iron filings.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's also fun.
Make some stuff, and if you put it closer, it made sort of something looking like porcupine because it got stuck and it was. Yeah.
Yeah, you can repel all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Most of it. I was just figuring out which one's what. Which can be quite a fun thing. But yeah, no, behavior and control, isn't it very weird how the universe is always in control? Even with all life forms that are intelligent. Think about that. It's a choice.
We are part of it, so yeah. We are in universe, so universe is bigger.
You see, are you away with the fairies? No, more like away with the universe. Close. We just keep going round in circles. Yes, we fucking do. Yeah. Literally. Thank you.
Yeah, like everything.
Like everything. Yeah.
It might be ellipses more than circles.
So a positive negative and a negative positive, and just to the clues are there. Minus negative magnetism and you would think that a positive person would attract someone that's negative, plus and minus, right? But it seems like it's in reverse. That a positive person repels a negative person, and a negative person is repelled by a positive person. Man, this is fucking weird. And then you've got people who have been through pain are attracted to each other, but technically they're very negative, apparently, so they should repel each other.
Yeah, there are
And
people.
two positive people will attract towards each other.
Yeah,
But yet,
there's no template for that, is there?
it's almost behavior on top of behavior on top of behavior.
Yeah.
And we're looking at this from a human perspective, but we're not ever looking up at the universal behavior, planetary behavior, solar system behavior. And then you end up sowing the seeds for where you draw your attention. Well, all of this was built from I was thinking about something very, very negative just before the video started. I mean, I took quite a dive down and then spring loaded off of that platform. I enjoy that. But at the same time, I learned something about yourself, about you, and you learned something about yourself. I learned something about myself in that moment. Well, I'd like to think so. Yeah, I learned something about myself. So yeah, no, I don't think I hate every negative situation that I've ever been through. Yeah, I think I like them. I like them for the journey that it can catapult you. And I think that's the eureka of this behavior, is learning how to master it, to not stay stuck. And that I agree with. Not to stay stuck in one, but know to go there and bounce off it. And I think that singers do this. Don't you think? They sort of dive down into their past and bounce up into a song.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't you think so?
Yeah.
They sort of went through some hard stuff. Not everyone, but you know, more common than not.
Yeah.
Doing.
Yeah.
And they use it to catapult themselves. They use it as a springboard. Ah, yeah, I like that. So yeah, I have definitely learned something about myself, and then I'm going to start to look at my negative situations to sort of formulate a positive, and I'm going to use it to try and bounce into that rather than saying stuck. So then I guess there's a behavior in your hard times can be a springboard. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of enjoyed this little talk tonight. This has been, yeah, it's been fun. I would say it's been fun. So yeah, this which goes to that January, February, March, April, May, June.
Yeah.
And then there was also the clock, but it was done with 24.
Yeah.
Broke that into 24, although it had to be a much more smaller or wider, either or. So 24-hour clock. And yeah, just to say one more thing, you know these numbers on a clock where they say synchronicities, and you know you get like everyone says, "Oh look, it's 4 4s," but there's 6, and then we see 1 1 1 1. I don't see that. I see 1 1 1 1 1 1.
But on some clocks, it doesn't show them. So
Yeah, I know, I get that, but then as soon as it hits, let's say 0 0 0
Yeah. Yeah.
0 0
Yeah.
or 1 1 1 1, whatever, 11 11. I then see another 11, or I count to 11. And I'm like, okay, now I got it. All right, now we go. So I just sort of pause for 11 seconds after that and then think, right, okay, so there's this many. Because logically thinking, we always forget about those little ones, don't we? Those little seconds. And then, gee me, where would it stop actually? Because you could have a couple more there as well, couldn't you? Nanoseconds. If we're looking at a stopwatch. Well, you wouldn't register those anyway, but so it could even be 8. No, think back to the if you had a stopwatch.
Yeah.
You see those other ones that are just like, oh my god, man, I have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's almost like Johnny Five flicking through a book. Yeah. It's so quick, right?
You could have so many. Depends. You could just have so many.
So yeah, then when looking at this situation here, I wonder if I can then lift that up and apply it to this. This was what I did. Oh, it's all about the journey, isn't it? Is it? Destination, journey, destination, journey. I don't know, if you're going through a hard time, you're looking at the destination.
Yeah.
And then when life starts to balance out, you're looking at the journey.
Sure.
You stop looking at the destination.
So it changes as well.
Yes. And I think that is another thing to have as a good psyche as well. Sort of pivot between those moments.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. What, in this time? This is shit, man. I'm not paying attention to this. I ain't looking out the window when I'm seeing tunnel.
And on daily basis, you have that swapping as well, like
Yes.
looking forward to do something in a minute, but I have to first like do this little thing and then doing something.
So then that's to be able to quickly disengage and re-engage, disengage, re-engage. It's a bit like Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're a kid.
Yeah.
There is no way you are focusing on all of that shit that's going up for the countdown to Christmas, right? Most of the kids are looking at the destination.
Yeah.
And then when Christmas comes, they're then looking back.
You only wake up like if you are going for whatever reason with parents somewhere and you go through toy shop or something like that. That's like a little pre-Christmas, like you like this. Yeah. Oh, there is a Christmas tree as well. Oh, Santa.
I'm looking at all the things I'm never going to get.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
even when the adverts are coming on,
Yeah.
which is kind of manipulative, which then can roll into behavior as well. When you think about it, in a way, adverts that come on that are bombarding children,
yeah.
which then gets the children,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird. There's no protection on that. Kind of strange to me. It bombards the kids. And then the kids are like, yo, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then this sort of teaches them about ego. And then the parents that are the breadwinners, the provider,
Yeah.
I provide for my children.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to get you this, I'm going to get you this, and I'm going to get you this. And then some other people that are not in that position, perhaps single mom or something like that, or parents that are together that are able to probably do this,
Yeah.
when they go to school, it's like, ha ha, I got this. What did you get? Well, I got this. What? That cheap shit? And then it formulates bullying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This sort of manipulation versus. I know that there's a mean well sort of thing there, but
But that comes from that Santa list as well, because you can write to Santa and ask for something. We never could do that. To write to baby Jesus to ask for a specific present. So you cannot expect it because you don't know.
so you don't do the traffic light system then.
Or traffic light.
Well, when I used to write to Santa, that's if he ever was able to read my writing,
Yeah.
you know. And sometimes I wouldn't even do it because it's like the whole writing thing. I'm sure you'll read my mind.
No, that was
I
not
used to
this.
just, get my sister. Sometimes I'll be like, "Can you just ask him? I have whatever he will give me, right?" And she was like, "Is that sort of it?" And you sort of see this wide-eyed mum sitting in the background, like, "Fucking right, mate. Oh, cheap one this year." But anyway, so I don't really care. And another thing that I used to love that they don't rate enough is lucky dips, right?
Yeah.
Where you get this lucky bag. You never knew what you were going to get inside it. I used to love those. Absolutely loved them.
I didn't have anything.
Pay
like
this much, you
that.
get a lucky dip. Yeah, and inside the bag there could be any toy, anything.
Yeah, we had.
All it was you knew it was for a boy for a certain age or for a girl for a certain. I like those because it was the whole mystery. Don't tell me. I didn't even want to pick anything. Just give me whatever. And usually I was quite grateful for what I got. And sometimes if I ever did ask for anything, one time I was particularly probably wanted to put some things down. I would go cheap, middle, and the sort of biggie. But I was happy to get whatever, and probably never got what was on the list anyway. Not like I was ungrateful for it. It was all about the family, and then it's going to be New Year as well. Now we're going to have some bonfire maybe, and maybe we'll get to light some fireworks, and the family will come round, and everyone. Yeah, I like that because these serve a purpose now. But yeah, I don't know. This whole. I didn't really watch much TV anyway, but factor that in with a load of really
We
hyperactive
didn't have
sort of ingredients.
advertisement when I was a kid, so you couldn't see what was there. There was not much. I think that for a few years we probably, my sister wanted Barbie or something similar, and we got toy like that looked like Barbie, and it was called Petra. There were two suitcases that each had the doll with some stuff, but other than that, you just got something. But what I liked when I was a little bit older kid, my dad was always under the tree and giving packaged presents to everyone, and I enjoyed looking for other people got as well, because I was surprised, because usually they didn't tell you, oh, I got a book or this for dad or something, so you were wondering what they will get as well.
Do you know, I don't remember much of what I did get.
Me neither.
Do you know what I remember the most?
No.
The color of the lights on the tree. I like that. That is, that's got to be it. And all the decorations as well. I don't know if this was probably me being really sensory. I still am to this day. I like the. I was a magpie in my past life. I can assure you. You just give me all of this sort of
Yeah, I
decoration
loved
and
that
sort of
decoration.
stuff. Love it.
Especially the tree, because my parents had for a long time the same decorations on the tree, and it was kids who we decorated, when obviously not our babas, but a little bit later we decorated the tree. So, and all the glitter from the I forgot, tinsel. And the beautiful lanterns, and I found them on internet. They are damn expensive. Oh my god, but they are gorgeous. They look like little lanterns, not like plastic pressed lantern, but it's real lantern with the little light in it. And they were gorgeous. They fit exactly the Christmas tree, and it looked like there were maybe little dwarfs or something living, not like when you have someone has Christmas tree and they have like red peppers or something that it's not even Christmassy.
I don't know.
I've seen some and I was like, why would anyone hang peppers or some stuff?
Each to their own.
Yeah.
Each to their own. Whatever it is. Maybe it's the smell. Maybe
because
it's the
you
look,
have snowflakes, you have stuff, snowmans. When I'm talking about the lights, like how they are done. But red peppers, like jalapeno peppers, light. Maybe in Mexico because it's hot.
Probably the smell. Probably the scent. Right, maybe then
Who
when you cut
knows?
it through the year, it takes you back to that.
Yeah,
And then when all the decorations are taken down,
but
go back to the
Christmas
boring,
tree, I loved
dull.
Christmas tree when it was on.
Yeah, no, I think for me it's more about the color and the
And the real Christmas tree when it smells
no,
like
we had mainly
pine.
artificial. Probably once had a real tree, maybe.
Yeah, my parents bought artificial later on as well. But when we were little kids, they always had spruce, and maybe 2 or 3 times we had pine with the longer needles. It lasts longer and smells nice. Yeah.
Well, it lasts much longer if you leave it outside, buried in the ground.
Yeah, but
With its roots.
if you live in a flat, you cannot do that because people would nick it from.
Getting up hot. I don't know. The whole saw it off sort of thing.
My great uncle had them, and he had to go. And when they were smaller, he had to go to the garden before Christmas, and every day he was guarding them there. Then he nipped the tops, so they didn't look perfect, and no one nicked them. And now they are like 20 meters, or I don't know how tall they are.
Yeah, no, for me it's sensory. I think it's very sensory. I liked all lava lamps.
I love
as well,
that stuff.
and fiber optic things as well. Freaking mesmerized by it.
Yeah, we didn't
Anything
have
colorful.
that. Yeah, we didn't have that. But candles, put in something in some nice candle holders and stuff like that. Beautiful.
So I don't even know really what I got for Christmas. I don't really remember. Too spoiled for the color.
I don't remember much either. But one year, as you were talking about that bag with surprise, Mom made those bags.
Oh no, these were not for Christmas. This was more for you could get these from the shop.
Yeah, I understand, but my mom probably was inspired by something like that. She didn't want one year to pack everything into nice paper. So she got these red bags that were barely see-through, but nice deep red, plasticky, filled with toys and presents. You could see through that there was something there, but under the tree in the darkness you couldn't see what. And then we were just reaching in and taking presents, and it was surprise.
Yeah.
But every Christmas was surprise. We didn't ask for specific present.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was more of the present is the color, the vibrancy,
for me,
really nice.
The Christmas Eve was present for me because Christmas Day, going to visit Grandma and Grandpa. Then they adults exchange some presents. Then exchange some sweets because Mom made some cookies. Auntie made some cookies. Grandma made her homemade chocolate, so they exchanged that. And then when we were going home in the afternoon, late afternoon, it was already dark. Then we were counting the Christmas trees in the windows because you go through how do you call it, motorway here, through the city, and you see all the houses where now are offices, but back then those were flats. So you saw all the Christmas trees lit. That was nice. rituals, as you said in different video. Rituals. That was rituals.
Rituals. Yeah, I honestly think Christmas, the tree a concept of coming in. I think they were decorating trees back in the days, especially when making bow and arrow. They probably had quite a few trees laid around. They're going to be the next ones to start making into certain bow and arrow. Perhaps they were taking it from a certain type of tree. I think it's very flexible. These are extremely flexible. I point because there's one there. I'm aware of that. But that is what you call it. And I think the kids were probably messing around decorating it.
Yeah.
Whilst perhaps someone was going to start to make a bow and arrow or different things like that. I think that, you know, that's not unheard of, and moving plants. Certain trees become very sacred. I don't know. Some people say pagan. Some people say this. Some people say that.
Yeah.
Well, whichever it may be. But I don't know. I like it. I like the light sensory. Again, and then when you remove that out of the equation, it's then all fiber optics and then rope lights that chased around, and then lava lamps. Oh boy, I had a lot of this stuff. It made me feel, you know, I don't know what the word is. I don't know. There's
I was
something there.
mesmerized.
Yeah.
I would say mesmerized by all the lights, decor, and everything.
Certain lights, certain sounds.
Yeah.
So either or, certain sounds were very. I don't know.
Beautiful decorations hanging on the tree, different colors of those, and the tints, so everything shimmery, nice. Yeah, I love that. When I was kid, I would love to have that lava lamp, but that was something you couldn't get.
Just don't ever knock them off.
Yeah, you couldn't get them.
What looks solid actually isn't.
Blobbies.
Yeah, no, kind of. That was interesting, but it's all right because it seems to be what everyone would offer on the market. If you would, you know, if I help you pack up, what's in it for me? No, I'm all right, mate. It's absolutely honking it down with rain. Oh, are you still offering? Yeah, I am. Oh man, you can pick anything from the store. How about that lava lamp? Oh. Will you help me unpack next time? Yep, I will. Okay, I'll take one of these. Go on, you did it pretty quick. You can have two. Yes. A nice carpet as well. A really nice one with a lion print on it. I don't even know what actually happened to that in the end. Really big lion rug. It was huge, man. Big freaking lion. I was obsessed with lions. I really was obsessed with them, and dolphins. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this one here because yeah, I think I'm proud of